Good morning, everybody. I'm Commissioner Robert Patrick. This is the Public Works and Infrastructure special called committee meeting. We do have a fairly lengthy agenda. I want to acknowledge we're starting a little bit late. A little story. When the Board of Education collects all the Chromebooks the week before school ends, your children then come back and say, why do I have to go to school? And so that was part of the argument this morning was you have to go to school. I'm on a calendar. I got to be at a meeting, and y'all got to get it going. So anyway, and then there was some traffic in Atlanta. Imagine that. We never have that kind of stuff. Dad comes first, yes. With that said, commissioners, I know, as I said, we do have a lengthy agenda. Agenda item 2026-0932. This is for all commission districts. Minutes of the May 5th, 2026 Public Works and Infrastructure Committee meeting. If y'all are comfortable with the minutes, I'll open the floor for a motion.
Move to approve.
Okay, we got a proper motion.
Commissioner Terry.
Second.
All right,
There's
proper motion.
A little bit of feedback because I think this mic is on. So just
okay.
FYI,
Do you want? I got you. Okay.
It's coming in real low.
All right. Ordinarily, politicians like feedback, so this is a weird thing for all of us. But anyway.
He is in rare form with dad jokes.
It's
already.
a Friday already. We have a proper motion and a proper second. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right. We're going to get into our discussions first. We have water and sewer CIP update. Is staff ready to go just yet, Zach?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If our members of Watershed would come up, we're going to have a fairly brief presentation today. Come on, Cassandra, and talk through the water and sewer CIP, but we recognize there is a lot on the agenda, so this will be more of a kind of an abbreviated version of the presentation, but they will definitely hit the high points.
Okay. You know, we've had many conversations at the BOC level about things that take too much time at the BOC level, and sort of committee is the time we need to do things. So if we got to do it right, let's do it right the first time, and then we'll make it work. And if we have to reschedule things, we'll reschedule things as we need to.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, guys. For the remaining consistent with what CEO Williams said, I just want to state the importance of this. Although it's consistent with CIP, the main difference and importance is this is actually our project management system, which is essential in the fact that we hadn't had one, even though we've had previous CIPs that we've delivered. The importance of this is it really allows us to comprehensively manage with data, be as transparent as possible, as visible as possible, not only currently during the construction, but later when we're looking backwards 2 or 3 years later, reprioritizing, contemplating something. Okay. Again, this is how essential this is. It's the other side of truly being resilient, great stewards of a water and sewer system, and not only those assets themselves, but the information, the data that it takes to continue to maintain those systems.
Maybe
I'm sorry.
The backbone of a good management system is the system that you are about to show us right now.
Absolutely. You have to manage with data.
Okay.
You have to manage with data. So with that being said, I'll turn it over to our Assistant Director of CIP for Watershed, Ms. Cassandra Marshall.
All right. Thank you, Director Wells.
Yeah, thank you, Director Wells. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I am the Assistant Director for Watershed Management, responsible for executing the CIP. I will be presenting along with the DWM Project Manager, Ms. Rashida Oliver. She has been working alongside AECOM, our subject matter expert, in implementing and training staff on the software. The AECOM personnel is Ms. Paige Williams. She will also be presenting with us also. So a quick agenda. We will provide an overview of what we've been using to date and the advantages of using Kahua. We will talk a little bit about the improved processes of how we're doing invoices, construction management, risk management, community engagement, milestone management, and dashboard analytics. So to date, we've pretty much, like Director Wells stated, have not had a formal PMIS system. We've been utilizing SharePoint, which is primarily just a document storage place. It's just a bunch of files where we can share amongst each other. The data, the information is all disconnected. There's no budget roll-ups, there's no contract roll-ups. We just have a bunch of documents where we have it stored in one location. Limited visibility, you definitely, with the detachment, cannot roll up at a program level, which is basically because of the data silos. You just got files. And lastly, the difficult of doing any type of reporting is pretty much a manual base. When you all request how much money we've spent to date, it pretty much takes us a couple of days to get together and manually put all of that information in a spreadsheet. So now the Kahua system, which is a modern PMIS solution, it's a fully integrated platform. It connects all of the project data, starting from the initial approved CIP budgets, and you also can amend those to put in the actual contract values. And then it even starts with the inspectors in the field, capturing the data of what the work has been completed, what we're paying the contractor, which ultimately rolls up to the program level where you can see program costs, construction costs, outstanding invoices, outstanding issues, RFIs, any issues, and all of that. There are 5 key benefits to using this software. Better collaboration between the team and the stakeholders, including yourself and the staff in the field. You got one true source. Everybody is using the same documents. We're gathering the same information. It's real-time reporting. The dashboards, we have a live dashboard that can effectively and quickly tell you a construction cost, how much has been spent to date, how much is outstanding. Improved accountability. It strengthens the accountability through clear workflows. There's a workflow process for approving pay applications, any change management, which is ultimately something that helps with audit trails. The central document management piece we have where we can put all of our files again in the file structure. Everybody is sharing the same files, revisions, updates, and the team itself, it reduces errors and improve on document control. We have increased efficiencies. This is through the automations, the RFIs, the daily reports, the invoices. All of that stuff is automated now. It goes through a workflow process where the inspectors are approving quantities, the contractors involved, and the project managers. Invoicing, we will have a better streamlined invoice process. The image on the right, as you can see, the first 3 pay applications, you can clearly see invoice 1, 2, and 3, the periods through December, January, February. The second image kind of shows the amount due, and it also shows the status of payment, paid, and open. We have not had that in past history. It's just been a mumble. Even the cohesiveness of the pay application. There have been instances where we would pay invoice number 3, but invoice 2 hadn't even been paid. So this make a better aligned, cohesive system, and it simplifies reviews and approval processes. Construction management, basically anything we're doing starts in the field where the inspectors are reporting on their daily reports. They're capturing real-time activities, real-time work complete by the contractor, their labor, the weather, and the progress, photos of the work completed. These are all things that when the audit projects, they're looking for this cohesiveness to actually show that the work was completed, what we've paid for to date. There's also an integrated workflow process for approval of those daily reports. And if anything is to change within those daily reports, let's just say it's a change of conditions, there's also an approval process for that too. All right, next you will hear from Ms. Rashida Oliver. She's the project manager for this.
Ms. Oliver, before you get started, commissioners, do you have any questions to this point? Nothing, right? Okay. Ms. Oliver, please go ahead.
All right, thank you, Cassandra, and good morning, commissioners.
Good morning.
Today, I am going to talk about the risk register. And as Ms. Marshall just stated, CAHUA is made up of a series of apps. And so similar to what's on your phone. So these apps make up how we manage now our $4.27 billion CIP program. So one of the apps is our risk register app. And so the Risk Register app is a proactive risk management tool. So it allows us to clearly identify and document risk within a project. And so once we identify and document those risks, there's a mitigation plan that we develop as well. And once that mitigation plan is in place, if this risk occurs, we've already identified it and we have that mitigation plan in place. And so it just allows us to be more proactive instead of reactive when we complete our construction projects. We also have the centralized risk tracking system. And so it just allows the risk to be in one place within the app versus emailing back and forth or having the risk in multiple spreadsheets. We can just go to the project and pull out that risk register, and we have what we call a risk log. Those risks are also kind of in different categories. So we have like a community stakeholder risk category, design, construction, all located within the risk register. So it also allows for real-time risk visibility. So at any moment, we can look at the risk and determine its probability, determine the impact, and then also determine whether that risk is still open. So as the project progresses, there are times when, okay, we can now close this risk. It's no longer one within this project. For example, we just had a community meeting. We listed that as a risk because we just did not know the outcome of the community meeting, what residents would show up, and if we would have any disruptions. So we needed a plan for that. And now that that community meeting has taken place, we are able to go and close that risk. It's no longer going to impact the project, this community meeting. And then also just better reporting and insights. And so at any given moment, the leadership team can take a look at the risk, and we can have a risk summary. They can see where we are within that particular project. And then lastly, it allows us accountability and tracking. So each risk has an owner. So whether that owner is going to be the contractor, that owner could be the engineer of record, it could also be the county. And so we're able to clearly identify who is responsible for tracking this risk and also the mitigation plan behind it. So that summarizes kind of what the risk register does for us within CAHUA. Next, I'll talk about the community engagement app. So the community engagement app within CAHUA is actually a custom-built app. So at the direction of our leadership, Director Wells and Maria Hauser, Director Hauser, we were able to get with CAHUA and develop a custom app that allows us to track our community engagement. Just realizing how important that is. So within the community engagement app, it allows us to have improved transparency so that the leadership team can look at a particular project within the community engagement app and determine the type of engagement that we've had with the community. If you can, one of the pictures on the screen, we have a project, and so we're able to say when we had a community meeting, do we actually put out a news release? Do we have next door, do we put out our next door notifications? And so they can go in at any moment to make sure that we have checked all of the boxes when it comes to communicating with the public. And then again, like the other apps, it just allows for centralized and standardized communication. We can go to the app and just, again, we don't have things scattered everywhere through emails. We can actually just go and say, okay, we did put all of the communications out that we were required to do so. And then also we have documented outreach feedback. So this is actually a complaint log that we are now tracking. So when the complaints come in, we log them in for that particular project, and we're able to track it to make sure that that complaint was addressed. And we go in, and after it is addressed, we're able to close that particular complaint. So really, really good with just kind of tracking where we are with our community engagement. All right, so that summer. Yes.
Commissioner Terry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, just one question on that last one. So this is tracking all of the community engagement touches, and So you mentioned next door, and then I think, do we do like door hangers
Yes.
also? Okay.
Yes.
And are y'all looking at doing text messaging also?
I think we do it now on a county level. I don't think we're doing it within our CIP program right now.
Okay. I mean, I think y'all should add in texting to that. It's just a low cost way, and you can be very targeted. And
Okay.
a lot of people are on cell phones these days, so
Right.
not everyone has Nextdoor. I think door hangers are probably
And social media, so there are other just different mechanisms that we're using.
There's a variety of platforms that are out there, to Commissioner Terry's point, and
Yep.
the more we can cover,
Right.
the more effective we are.
Right,
in
so
our
we're
role.
doing the door hangers, the social media platforms.
We'll get Deanna involved, communications officer.
Okay.
Perfect.
Can I have a question too on this
please go
item? So with the complaint logs, how is it best for us as commissioners, when we get a complaint or a question in from a constituent in email, how can we communicate that most effectively back to you guys?
So right now, I believe the way that it's handled, we are being emailed that particular complaint, and then we give it to the project manager for that particular project, and they will load it into Kahua so that we're tracking it in that manner.
And then is there a certain person we should be emailing? I think I just bombard Director Wells with when I need to pass something on. I just want to make sure we're doing it the most effective way.
Absolutely. And you are talking about a CIP project, a
Yes.
scheduled project? Yes. So usually there's a PIO that's associated with every project.
Okay.
However, there is a general email address for CIP.
Okay.
Of course, I wouldn't have it because you asked that.
Of course, but you can get it to me.
Absolutely.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
I think that's it for now. Well, actually, I do have one question myself. So, is there a role for AI? Do you guys have a way to pull that into this?
AI?
Yeah.
We were just having that discussion.
Okay, all right.
So in the future, we do plan on, or we were going to discuss how we were going to implement AI within Kahua. They're actually rolling it out now, so we are going to try to incorporate it into what we have already.
Okay, perfect. All right. No other questions? If not, let's go ahead and continue on.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Paige Williams, who's with AECOM, and she's our technical expert helping to implement Kahua.
Good
Ms.
morning.
Williams, welcome.
Thank you. And I'll cover some more on your AI question
Okay.
when I'm done with the deck.
Yep.
So milestone scheduling management. Oops, went backwards. Okay. So milestones are basically key project dates that are captured on a project. So they're pulled from the schedule, added to the milestone app, and it's a way for for them to track where the project is in its execution. It's also utilized for planning and forecasting. So there's apps that are within Kahua that do capital planning, do cash flow forecasting. Those dates are pulled into those apps to utilize for those cash flow curves and information like that. It also allows you to look at a analytics dashboard to find out where you are in the schedule and if you've surpassed, if you've completed something early or you're late to it. So it's a great way to manage the schedule within the Kahua application. Analytics and reporting. So Kahua has a bunch of analytics dashboards. As of this morning, they have published the ones that the team has requested. They've asked for configuration changes to those dashboards. And so these are just a couple samples of what is available in there. It gives you an overall program level view of like cost, risk, schedule, invoicing, contracts. And then you can also drill down to like a water wastewater level, or you can drill down to a specific project or group of projects. So, and then there's also robust reporting within there. You can do log reports, you can do specific record reports, like for a contract, if you wanted to look at what the contract values are and what pay requests have been made off those, there's reports that you can run in there. And then the final thing I have, which wasn't really on the agenda itself, but so currently with the Kahua implementation, we have in place the cost management applications of budget, contracts, change orders, and pay requests. We have construction management applications underway with RFI submittals, daily reports, meetings, the risk register, the milestone dates. There's document management, which is basically file manager. There's community engagement, and then there's the analytics. And on the agenda for the future, we're looking at doing the capital planning and the cash flow forecasting. We needed data in the system before we could start working those. And then the construction management pieces, the design review process, the punch list or completion list, the field observations, checklist, and then the warranty work. So that's what's on for the future. So that concludes my portion, but since, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So in that portal, will we be able to see if there's any disputes between staff, contractors, vendors managing the contract? Because, sometimes I guess out in the field, things are sort of done one way, and then they say, well, don't do it this way. And so how does that portal sync with what happens out in the field that might be sort of discussed or negotiated?
Yeah, I mean,
at the
I'm
moment?
sure that can be captured in the daily reports, and then there's the ability to take those daily reports, and if it's not settled like on that day, then there's ways to progress it through the system to even to the point of where if the contractor's not obliging what your requirements are, you can like back charge and put somebody else in place to do the work, that sort of thing. So
Okay.
if you
So typically, disputes and change management starts in an RFI. Contractor may ask a question, either we agree or disagree. We're going back and forth in that method. And if it pans out as a true change, it turns into an issue and a change request. And if dollars are associated with it, it's levels of approval. Myself, I think I have it at a $25,000. Larger amounts require the director to sign off on it.
Gotcha. Okay. Great. Thank you.
And to your question with AI, they are actually, Kahua is pushing heavy and hard on the AI component. They have actually are working on embedding an AI within Kahua, so it's not going to be a third party or a wrapper. It's actually part of Kahua. So they are working on that right now, and as Rashida said, we're working to work with the IT department to find out if it's okay for us to put an AI application or whatever in the system.
Okay. And do you have an idea of what functions the AI would do, and how do you look to see it making you, I guess, your processes more efficient?
Yeah, so it's called NOAA Agent, or NOAA Assist, I'm sorry. The NOAA Assist would be kind of like what you see with chatbots in other applications, but you'd be able to go in and say, hey, how do I create an RFI? And it'll give you step-by-step process of how to create that RFI.
Okay.
If you have questions around what's the difference between an expense change order and a funding change order, it'll explain that to you. So it gets into, it'll even help you find a project. So there's over 200 projects in the system right now. And if you're not really sure what the numbering schema is on it or what it's called, you can put some information in there and it can find the project for you.
Okay, so literally, if you needed a moment of hand-holding getting through something,
Exactly.
it'll be there to make it a little more efficient.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you wouldn't have to, bother the PM or somebody else.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Commissioner Terry?
Yes, thank you. Just a quick follow-up on the AI. So, I do support using whatever technology is cutting edge, and we need to be innovating all the time. The National Association of County Officials, I think 2 years ago, shared basically, and this is more for Zach actually, an AI sort of policy templates basically for local governments to set those standards of when AI is used, how it's used, and we haven't. I don't think we've officially adopted that standard either at the Board of Commissioners or just at the governing authority. So is that, and I know the IT department had been looking at it back, I think when Matowski was here. Mm-hmm. So is that something, I don't want to slow the roll of Kahua, and I think that's great that they're integrating, that technology, but just for this project and other ones that might be using AI, can we advance that, or at least can look at that review of that policy statement?
Actually, on my desk as of, I believe, Monday or Tuesday, is the proposed AI policy. So we're literally one review away from distributing it.
Okay, wonderful. And you bring it to the commission?
It's not a
or-
board-adopted policy, but absolutely, I mean, we'll share it with everyone, but it's going to be much like the rest of the IT policies in terms of governing how we access and utilize different information sources.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, well, I'd love to
It's
see
just about
that, and I do think that we should adopt it, because, and that's great that this administration is doing it, but if the next one says, we're going to change it, but if we make it a policy of the board, then it's just set, and,
Okay.
and it, be for us as well as commissioners.
Okay, so we'll be probably, any day now. It's literally been, Scott's been bugging me to hurry up and read it, so.
Okay.
We're that close.
Great, thank you.
All right. No questions? All right. Anything else to add for the presentation?
Yeah, this completes the presentation. We're just ending with the slide where this presentation can be found on your Commissioner SharePoint site.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Commissioner?
Yes, and thank you all so much for the presentation. So Zach, and I think for Chief of Staff May, so when we passed the resolution last year for the CIP monitor that would report to the Board of Commissioners, I think there was expectations there would be like a sort of an RFP or something, and there would be, some procurement. So where are we on releasing? Because I mean, this is like this right here. To me, is great because once we get the CIP monitor that reports to the BOC, they can use this system, right? Like this is the tool to help monitor. So thank you for doing all this. And I think the last piece is us just having that board-approved CIP monitor that can,
Right.
plug in and
Right. So, yeah.
because I don't want to look at this every day, Zach.
Right. And I think where that ended up, Commissioner, was a staff position that the board would hire. So we had gone through the
Okay.
process of, this is months ago.
Okay.
And so where we had, gathered some resumes and stuff. But we will sit with the Chief of Staff, Mr. May, and just kind of ensure that we revitalize that and do whatever we need to do to support that. Because I think the resumes are probably stale by now.
Okay.
But, that has been done. And recall as well, there was a companion piece, which was an assessment by Malden, ended up being by Malden and Jenkins of DWM. That was one of the
Right.
tenants too. And that's close to being complete. That should be done by the end of June.
Okay, wonderful. That's the operational audit.
Correct.
Okay, great. So we can look at that and then.
We can present that in here.
I was going to say it would be ideal if
No, you're not.
lights are on.
You're on.
It would be ideal if that could come back to committee
Yes.
and we have that conversation. Thank you for reminding us about the CIP monitor. I think that was a issue of high concern early last year, and it's something I think we were looking to make sure that the Board of Commissioners always had that independent observation of what's going on for ourselves. So, perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. All right, Commissioners, we got that taken care of. Moving on, we've got, actually, Marcus, do we have any other presentations that we were going to do? Did we want to get all the presentations done first?
Sure, absolutely. Yes, sir. Okay.
So, good morning again.
Yep, good morning.
Wanted to really emphasize this because it's hard to make Commissioner Terry ever smile publicly. Usually because the nuances of watershed. And since I've returned, I think all but one PWI, he's mentioned this particular effort. So I'm actually elated to stand here to say that we're able to present it publicly. Although we've already discussed it, but obviously we want to make sure everyone gets the information, and I couldn't be happier. I want to introduce CERN, the members of CERN, as well as the other JV partner, that will ultimately be doing the presentation. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Patrick, and Commissioner Terry. My name is Yasmin Moreno, and I am the Design Practice Lead at CERM. This project was done under the CERM Volkert JV. So we are here to brief you on the feasibility study and master planning of the area surrounding Pole Bridge Creek Advanced Wastewater Treatment Plant. So we have a brief agenda because I know that we are 10 to 15 minute agenda. I know we're running behind time. So we'll introduce our team, give you a little bit of project background, go over the project scope, explain the intended feasibility and master planning process, and then brief you on our key findings.
Okay.
So just, this is the team that has the contract with DeKalb County. It's a CERM Volkert joint venture. And then we have a list of specialty subs that can handle projects such as this one. For this specific project, the team was made up of myself as the project manager, Terrell Gibbs, who is here, who's our Chief Operation Officer and acted as QA/QC on this project, and then the team from CERM Volkert and our specialty subs that were able to handle the sustainability composting aspects. Marie Jai, who is with me here, who handled all the environmental, Ned Bear, who handled transportation, Chris Zupa, who handled land planning, Ali, who handled stormwater, and then David Yearton, who handled landscaping and recreational issues. So just a little bit about the project background. This project was initiated by your very own Commissioner Terry, who really endeavored to find the highest.
He's smiling right now, by the way.
Just for the record, this was approved in the resolution that we passed with the water rates, so everyone supports it.
Yeah, he wanted really to find the highest and best use for the 500 acres of vacant land that surrounds the Pole Bridge plant that is owned by DeKalb County. The county spends a little more than $250K annually to maintain these open areas through lawn mowing and other maintenance activities. And he really thought that we could do some sustainability initiatives that would be a higher and best use and provide community benefits. And you can, add other issues. So the project scope was really to look at a myriad of potential initiatives. So these were really the highlighted initiatives that we looked at. Recreational trails through the project, a composting facility, a solar farm, and sludge application, which I will get to, and then conservation and reforestation of those areas to help reduce maintenance costs and obviously provide benefits to the community in terms of passive parks, bird watching, butterfly gardens, and other recreational uses. So we initially scoped the whole project, the whole feasibility study and master planning process. We broke it up into these main 4 phases. The first phase was due diligence and existing conditions, where we would basically do all the research to find out what's our starting point and what's our existing conditions, doing the research. Then phase 2 would go into a preliminary concept plan and report. And then phase 3 would be the stakeholder outreach and and phase 4 would be the final master plan and report. But when we had our initial meetings with the Department of Watershed Management and some initial stakeholders, we realized that we really needed to focus on going step by step. So we initially wanted to kind of just go out, do the whole thing, and we realized we wanted to just take a step back and just focus on phase 1. So this briefing of what we've completed is just phase 1, the due diligence. There were some initial things that came up, which I will go through, that made us realize, just getting to phase 1 was very important to the Department of Watershed Management. And so that's what we focused on. So the phase 1 due diligence and existing conditions, we broke it up into these steps, which is to initially conduct, records research, to conduct a site visit, to determine the boundary of the acreage that we're talking about, to conduct an environmental review, look at all the utilities, obviously to conduct the research on the potential initiatives, so the composting facility, solar farm, to look at transportation and land use, and then the reforestation, conduct a stormwater analysis, I'm not sure, and also to just do an overall sustainability review. I think it's just that one that's blocked. So this was our schedule. We started last December. We basically had overall a 2-month schedule to get the initial due diligence completed. And so we finished right at the end of February. And this is just the project location. So on the left, you see the boundary, very beautiful site. And on the right, you see the project location within the county. It's right adjacent to the Pole Bridge plant at the very southeast part of the county, which is adjacent to the South River, which is hard to see on the map to the left, but it's bordered by the South River. So here are just some general pictures of some of our site visit that we conducted when we went out there to identify areas and land where some of these facilities and initiatives could take place. This picture really just shows where the utilities are coming in. That yellow line is basically the sewage that flows into the plant and all the surrounding communities that border. And here you have a better picture of where you see the South River on the south border in blue, very key recreational feature. So here is the facility data. The Pole Bridge plant is designed to handle 20 million gallons per day of flow. But it's under capacity, so it basically is handling about 12 to 14 million gallons a day, which means it has the potential to grow as other communities come online. It serves Southeast DeKalb, and it is located in the city, within the city limits of Stonecrest. And the facility has had a permit to conduct sludge land application for years. And fun fact, it was opened in 1973. So the city predates the city of Stonecrest, which we will discuss a little further in this presentation. So this, let me not back away. So as I said, the city of Stonecrest was incorporated in 2017. And the plant had been there already. But now one of our key findings, as you'll see, is that the city's land use and zoning are really not compatible with some of the initiatives in that we would want for the site. The city zoning is R100, which is a residential zoning, and the land is in the Arabia Mountain overlay, which their vision for the overlay is really all recreational. So a lot of our recreational initiatives would fall under it, but solar farm, composting facility, and even land application is not within the city's zoning and regulations and future land use. So what we discovered is one of the things that we would need to do is really have that engagement with the city to get some of these areas rezoned so that it would meet the criteria for what we're looking for. I'm going to turn it over to Marie, who will talk about our environmental review.
Thank you. Good morning, commissioners.
Good morning.
I'm Marie Jai. I'm the environmental lead for the Southeast at Volker, and we did the environmental review, and that involved a combination of use of GIS mapping tools, environmental databases. We also did a site visit, and we also talked to the plant operator. And what our findings indicate is the potential presence of wetlands on the property along the stream corridors. There's also two streams on the property. One is South River, which runs along the southern boundary, and then you have Polebridge Creek, which is on the eastern side. And there are also some unnamed tributaries associated with those two main streams. The project area is located within a FEMA flood zone area, which has minimal flood hazard. We also did look to see, and we identified that there's no essential fish habitat on the property. However, there is wildlife habitat, and according to discussions with the plant operator, there are 3 known nesting bald eagle pairs on the property. We also looked for listing for protected species, your threatened and endangered species, and about 5 of those 3 are plant species, one's a bat, and the other's a butterfly that were listed for the site. Now, of course, this is all desktop screening, and so we need to field verify the presence of these on the property. And once we field verify, we can then start to look at avoidance and minimization considerations, as well as permitting if needed, depending on what sort of land use is ultimately decided for the property. Thank you.
As part of our due diligence, we also conducted a stormwater analysis of all of the sites, and my drainage engineer was very happy on this project because he loves doing this stuff. But we broke the project up into 11 basins to understand what the current hydrology of the site would look like, and then any initiatives, we would have a starting point from a stormwater management perspective. Now, this was, one of the things that came up as we were going along is that the Department of Watershed Management is very interested in returning to sludge land application. So the sludge applications were ceased in 2014. And it's, from everything that we've gathered, it was basically self-imposed by DeKalb County over concerns over nitrate applications. But this is the future plan, is to use really the entire site to dispose of the current sludge. So we did a quick calculation that if we did use the site for sludge application, there would be a savings currently over hauling the material, which is what's happening now, to the Seminole landfill. So we did kind of a pros and cons of land application on the behest of the county. So advantages of land application is to eliminate truck sludge, reduce the cost, because trucking the sludge over to the landfill costs about $600,000 annually, and the land application would cost a little, somewhere between 50 to 100 K annually. The land application, according to our landscape architect, doesn't affect the trees and reportedly causes no runoff or creek impacts. It decreases mowing needs and has environmental benefits to improve soil health and carbon sequestration. Also, just reducing the emission of greenhouse gases compared to, trucking everything over to the Seminole landfill. And then some of the cons of land application are, just having risks to odor, pollution from the nitrate, which was a big deal, which is why this county initially, what we're hearing is why they stopped the land application in 2014. Also, there are high energy costs for pumping and maintenance of equipment because you're going to be using that 500 acres for a distribution of the sludge. But it limits the land for being used for other higher and better purposes. So that's really a con of using the land for land application. So the county is doing a great job of monitoring the groundwater levels for the nitrate. The picture on the right shows all of the monitoring wells throughout the site. And so what we did as part of this due diligence is we asked for all of the data so that we could analyze it. And what we found is that since they have stopped land application, it has not stopped the nitrate level. So there's a trend line showing that the nitrate levels are consistent, and they're consistent going up, meaning that the land application is not necessarily causing nitrate levels in the ground to go up. So that's something that really needs to still be monitored and analyzed further, and could be a tool used to resume land applications if that is the desired outcome for the county. Another, big initiative for us was the conservation and reforestation of the areas. So I don't know, Marie, if you wanted to talk more about it, but basically, as you can see, it's a beautiful area. So a lot of the natural wetlands, ecosystems, and soils are perfectly suited to reforest and create other areas for either butterfly gardens or passive parks, trails, and areas of visual interest that would be in line with what the city of Stonecrest envisions for this area.
Yeah,
Did you want to add something?
Yeah, just to say, it's also ideal for passive recreation, as she mentioned, nature trails, but there's also bird watching opportunities there, and seasonal hunting. I believe they said that that's something that's also done there too. So these are some of the things that could be considered, especially in those wooded areas.
And one thing I'll just note is that if you go back to the map, the 2 slides ago, one more. Yeah, so
this one?
Yeah, the one, there you go.
Okay.
The southwestern portion, that is that little area is the historic Lions Farm.
Right.
Which I know we've all been engaged with Arabia Mountain and Ravana Cosby about trying to sort of revitalize that historic farm and all the history there. And, they have their own little plan as well.
Right.
And so I know that they're going to be a stakeholder as, this process moves forward, because they're really interested in seeing how the Lions Farm can kind of be, because literally that number 3, I think, is right next to where the Lions Farm property is.
Yep. Yes, and and that's the terminus, I believe, of some of the trails and road there. So absolutely. So we want to conclude with our key findings from this exercise, which number one was the regulatory and zoning considerations with the city of Stonecrest that we mentioned, the value and benefits of the land application versus higher and best use for the land. The NPDES permit, which currently allows for land application, is going to expire in 3 years. So obviously, making sure that that stays current and active. And we talked about continuing to monitor the site so that the nitrate levels could be presented to EPD if land application becomes the preferred method of utilizing the land, to make the case that you're not adversely impacting the ground and nitrate levels. And then the ability to use it for the other passive recreational uses such as nature trails, hunting, bird watching, and recreational conservative uses that you want to see, as well as the composting facility, solar farm, and we even heard maybe even some development that would benefit some revenue generating items that could benefit the county. So next steps. So through this process of really focusing on phase one, what we realized is that we needed to move the stakeholder outreach forward. So as Commissioner Terry mentioned, instead of going straight into the plan, we recommend going into the stakeholder outreach. So that would bring together City of Stonecrest, Lions. DeKalb has plans for this area as well. And we came across these different organizations that really are interested in the land as well as DeKalb County. And so this next phase of stakeholder outreach is to bring all of these interest groups together so that we could come up with a plan that everyone is really comfortable with, as well as the Department of Watershed Management and the operations of the plant. And that's
it. Okay. Commissioner Terry, any questions?
Yeah, I'll just add a couple of things. I know the Watershed Department works with Georgia Birds, and so I know folks go out there and bird watch. So that's a very popular activity, which I've done a couple times. The Christmas bird count is a lot of fun. You literally just get a binocular, and if you see a bird, you just call it out, and then you make a note. But certainly
do you
the
have
lion.
to quickly take a picture?
No, it is on the honor system.
Oh, okay.
If you see it, and usually there's like an expert. So there's a bird there, and they pull out their telescope, and then they confirm it. So it is a lot of fun. So it is already kind of used passively in that way, not the whole property, but I think the western portion is sort of the birding area. Commissioners, on the land application, one of the reasons why we wanted to look at composting is when we visited the Athens-Clarke County composting facility last year, they made us aware that they take their biosolids, instead of doing land application or taking it to the landfill, they put it in a compost system. And so that was kind of the idea, is if the issue is transportation costs to the landfill, which is the most expensive part of the disposing of the sludge, if you don't have to transport it and you can compost it on site in a smaller area, then, as you pointed out in your presentation, the con of land application is it takes hundreds of acres.
Right.
So if you can diminish the acreage used to deal with the biosolids, now you unleash all the other possibilities.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I'm most curious about, is the cost-benefit analysis of, would a compost facility that could handle the volume of biosolids, would that allow for that footprint to shrink, and then all the other options that could be on the table become more available?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, thank you so much for the report. Marie, it is great to see you again. It's been a long time. We're old co-workers from many moons ago. many moons ago. I think you answered the question I was going to ask about reaching out to stakeholders. You talked about Stonecrest, so I was wondering if we'd had conversations with them yet, but it looks like that's in the next phase.
Well, we actually did have a meeting with Stonecrest as part of this, and that's why we know we have to talk to them because they were not, in our initial meeting with them, they were just like, no, that is not allowed. No, that is not allowed. So we want to bring everybody together so that, we are now all kind of planning together, and they're giving us paths to let it be allowed, because there are paths. We can have, zoning, gosh, why is the word leaving me? Rezoning. We can rezone the area, so there are paths. So yeah, we did meet with them, and we met with, we went out with Decide DeKalb. So we've kind of initiated this, but now it's time to really get everybody in the room so that, as Commissioner Terry said, we can all say, okay, we know these are the drawbacks, we know these are the benefits, let's all decide that we want the best for the area, and so there's going to have to be some compromises in this.
And then what is the time frame on that phase? Do we have an estimate?
So we wanted to kind of brief you. So we are submitting a proposal to Commissioner Terry next week.
To Zach.
Oh, I'm sorry. And we're going to move forward with outlining that phase, which is really critical on this.
And then I did just have a question about the nitrate levels. It is interesting that they're still increasing, and we haven't been using it for the sludge application since, I think you said 2014.
Right.
And if the NPDES permit expires in 3 years, but we have to show 20 years of data, and we have 10 years of data, how are we going to accomplish that? That might not be able to answer that right now, but that kind of stuck out to me, is how do we get the data needed to show, if that's the path we go, how do we do that?
Right. So as part of this process, like I said, we took the available data, but I'm not sure what was done prior. So there's still kind of some investigation that needs to be done or research to kind of figure that out. And then we'll probably have to really recommend to the Department of Watershed Management, because internally I'm sure you have your internal people who are monitoring that and looking at that. And so that's part of the stakeholder engagement as well, is to reach out to EPD and get that regulatory advice and engagement with them as well. So that'll be part of this process so that they can help us get all the required data that we need to move forward.
Understood. Thank you. I yield.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. Very informative. A question I have, and this may not be something that you can answer, but I hear that fertilizer around the world is becoming more and more expensive, and I wonder if there's a way that we could take our sludge and monetize that into fertilizer for here in the United States, or even export around the world.
Well, I know that is definitely something we're going to look at in this phase, because we were asked to look at some revenue generating ideas, and that's a good one, as well as even the possibility of data centers. I know that's another hot topic around. So,
it is a hot topic.
So,
yes, it is.
It's Stonecrest, so that's up to them.
Did I say the wrong thing?
Well, we want to have conversations with land use just because county owns the land. But anyway, okay. Well, listen, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming to us. Zach, you'll come to us, I guess, at some point with introducing the next steps, the next phases.
Absolutely, and I definitely appreciate all the hard work that Yasmin and the team have done. And so I do see the next step is, once we have our sustainability chief on, which will be any day now, really getting that person integrated into this to help lead from the administration's standpoint.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, they've done a lot of great work.
Just to say it, I think, the idea of solar cells it could be very productive again, generating energy to pay for street
A lot of
lights
land, yeah.
on all of that land would be potentially very impactful. So, Commissioner Terry?
Yeah, just to that point, Commissioner, so Jacob Ballard did present on the Cherry Street Energy
He did.
proposal. And
Yep.
if you remember, it was on one of his slides. They actually, Polebridge was estimated to have the highest capacity by like 3 times, 6,920 kilowatts.
Wow.
And the next was Scott Candler at 2,800. So if you look at like all 300 acres and you just said, let's put a solar panel on every single spot, Polebridge becomes basically a power plant. And so that's kind of why we wanted to look at kind of all the options because from a revenue generating perspective, that really could be a lot of money for the county. And then to your point about the fertilizer, that is the goal with the compost facility. Is Athens Clarke County generates food waste, wood waste, biosolids. They combine it all together. All their residents get really good compost for free, and then they sell some of it to third-party users. And so their revenues were several $100,000 a year just from selling it to like farms and gardeners and things like that.
Is that Athens Clarke County's best?
Yes.
Never mind.
Most of the food
I love
waste comes from
Athens.
the UGA.
Just having fun. Just having fun.
Right. I'm not touching that one. That's a low-hanging fruit. I'm not going.
Not the fruit you want, right? Okay. Did we have, Mr. Marcus Allen, did we have another presentation, or we're good with what we got?
So the remaining presentations will be embedded within the actual agenda. So if we're ready to move forward, we can begin with the agenda, and there will be a couple of presentations that accompany agenda items.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, Commissioners, we are done with page 1. We're still under watershed management. We're going to go to the top of page 2, agenda item 2026-0232, all commission districts. Low bid invitation number 2025-066, ITB, chemicals for odor control, 3-year multi-year contract for use by the Department of Watershed Management to obtain chemicals for odor control. Recommend award to the lowest responsive and responsible bidders. Acuity Specialty Products Incorporated, doing business as ZEP Sales and Service. Breakthrough Solutions Janitorial Supply, Ferguson Waterworks, People's Janitorial Supplies Incorporated, and State Industrial Products Corp. Total amount not to exceed $494,049.15. Director Wells, good to see you.
Absolutely. Great to see you guys again.
Oh, I think your microphone might be off.
Good deal. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
This item is ultimately for us to sanitize a number of things that we utilize throughout watershed. In particular, the nature of our business, the substance sometimes generate odor, and depending upon the location, the application, it may require different type of chemicals or products to actually manage that odor, and that's exactly what this contract allows us to do.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions? Nope. I'll open the floor for a motion.
Move to approve item ending in 0232.
Second.
Proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on, we have agenda item 2026-0677. This is for all commission districts. Change order number 1 to contract number 1337545, design and engineering services during construction for Snapfinger Advanced Wastewater Treatment Facility expansion, Phase 3A. For use by the Department of Watershed Management, seeks to increase the contract scope of work, funds, and term through December 31st, 2031, awarded to CDM Smith Incorporated, amount not to exceed $658,789.35. Director Wells?
Yes, sir. This particular item is to add a change to an existing contract that we have for a new design for expanding the capacity of Snapfinger. The initial scope included expansion up to 160 MGD. However, we actually need expansion, the original design capacity was 129, and we need actually expansion up to 160. This change allow us to actually incorporate that scope to do just that at the stated cost. That's what this item is for. Also to allow additional time beyond the additional contracted date of February 14, 2031 till December 31st, 2031. So additional 10 months per se to incorporate the expanded scope.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions?
I did see, no, a typo, so it is extended to December 31st, 2031. The note said, in the agenda item says 2030. But
Correct.
Okay.
It should be the, yes.
Okay.
If we need that corrected, you can
Hold
get
on.
us
It's
a
not in here.
substitute?
That's what this is. It's asking for time because it originally was 2030.
Oh.
Additional work, increase your performance.
To
time, so
31.
Mhm.
I got you. So the performance time versus the contract end time is two different. The original contract performance time end date was February 14th, 31st, with the contract term end date of December 31st, 2030. So that's
Gotcha.
the,
Okay, so that is correct. Understood. Thank you.
Director Wells, just to ask, or Commissioner Terry, did you have any questions? No? Okay. Director Wells, just to ask, how does this expansion fit in with the conversation we had, I guess, a week or two ago with the about $50 million worth of emergency funding?
it's actually part of it. So the previous committee, there was several parts. I think there was 4 pieces of legislation.
Right.
In particular, for the general contractor, for the membranes themselves, for the CM services. In order to really get to that is the design portion, and because the need to get initial membranes, et cetera, necessitate doing that design to ensure all of that is spec'd appropriately, can be constructed appropriately. That's the purpose of this.
Of this right here. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so it's all together. It's one and the same. It's a lot of moving pieces.
There are, and again, the benefit, I think, of you explaining it as you did is it's letting everybody know how it all comes together.
Absolutely.
And exactly where the money's going and why. So again, thank you
Absolutely.
very much for that. Commissioners, if you don't have any other questions or concerns, I'll open the floor up for a motion.
Move to approve item ending in 0677.
Second.
All right, we got proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on, we have agenda item 2026-0678. This is for all commission districts. Change order number 1 to contract number 2000331, Snap Finger Vault Assessment and Cleaning. This is an emergency for use by the Department of Watershed Management to obtain continued assessment and cleaning of sanitary sewer pipes and contract term extension, seeking to ratify a previously issued contract term increase and obtain increased contract funds and terms through March 31st, 2027, awarded to Compliance Envirosystems LLC, amount not to exceed $3,014,358. This has not come back from audit yet, or has?
It has.
It has.
And supported.
And just support it, all right. Director Wells, if you just sort of give us the layman's version.
Yes, sir. So this change order is really just to ensure we still have that cleaning ability, being that this particular portion of system feeding Snap Finger, due to the amount of infiltration, quite frankly, during wet weather, river water, storm water,
Yep.
entering the system. There's a lot of silt, dirt, things of that nature, debris that get in the system, which diminish the capacity because now it's solids in the pipe as opposed to flow being able to go in the pipes.
Right.
So which requires the continuous reassessment and cleaning accordingly until we get those expanded capacities that we just discussed as far as design and then ultimately constructed.
Perfect. Okay. Commissioners, any questions? Seeing none, I'll open the floor for a motion.
Motion to approve item 0678.
Second.
All right. Proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Director Wells. Next item is 2026-0627. This is for all commission districts. This is one that has come back to us again. Emergency Snapfinger Advanced Wastewater Treatment Facility Membrane Bioreactor Emergency for use by the Department of Watershed Management to obtain the membranes to upgrade Phase 2 equipment to reliably treat plant design flow. Seeking to ratify an emergency purchase. A contract will be developed in the form acceptable to the county attorney, awarded to Clovis Separation Solutions LLC, amount not to exceed $5,360,000. And we had a substitute handed out to us, and it looks like the revised dollar amount is actually upwards to.
Should be a reduction, a significant
That's a large
reduction.
reduction.
So,
550,000?
yes, sir. So, if I may,
Yeah.
part of the discussion last committee was the item that you guys so graciously deferred, because at the time, the delta, the reason for the reduction is because we included it in two different legislations. Because of the long lead time it took to actually get the membranes, we needed to ensure we got those specific membranes ordered, being manufactured, so we can get it in time. However, it's not customary, because you need a general contractor to perform that work, and you would prefer for it to go through that contract so it can be warranted. That's more customary to how it should be done.
Gotcha.
Being that we didn't have the luxury of being able to do that because it was emergency, we needed to get all the vehicles in place. And since we were able to do that with the approval of the $32 million item that you mentioned earlier, thus we're able to reduce this because the cost will then be covered under that.
Under their contract. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. And just for clarity, the revised amount is $550,000. Commissioners, any questions? That's a large savings, by the way, so thank you very much.
So just to
Director Wells,
clarify,
that's great. Commissioner Terry?
So just so basically the KSS membrane contract will be assigned to Ruby Collins. So that's where the remainder of the cost will come from.
Yes, absolutely.
They'll install it. So this is the down
So-
payment, and then
Correct.
yeah. So
Minus
we'll
the
eventually
down
spend that
payment.
$5 million. It just we're going to spend it through this other contract.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
A reallocation of costs, not necessarily a reduction. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'll move to
you-
approve
you're
item
good?
0627 substitute.
All right,
Second.
we've got a proper motion second on that substitute. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, moving on. Thank you, Director Wells. We're going to
Absolutely.
move on to Public Works Sanitation and Beautification. This is the top of page 3. This is agenda item 2026-0477 for all commission districts. Low bid invitation number 2025-123 ITB, right-of-way mowing and maintenance services, annual contract with 2 options to renew for use by Public Works Sanitation and Beautification to obtain mowing, thank you, and lawn maintenance services at various right-of-way locations, seeks to reserve the right to transfer funds between contracts based on the needs of the county. Recommend award to the lowest responsive and responsible bidders, Reimage General Contractors and Russell Landscaping LLC, amount not to exceed $719,650. Director McKinney?
Good morning, committee members.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Chair, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Terry. Yeah, this is a program that will work in conjunction and hybrid with our existing teams to make sure that the aesthetics are upheld. You'll see that there's 2 contractors here. Performance is very important to us. In the past, we've had some performance issues. So in the event, they will work in conjunction with each other, but in the event that one contractor fails to meet those expectations, we'll always have someone available and ready to work along with our teams.
Understood. Okay. Commissioners, any questions?
I was curious what the change in the substitute was.
Hi, Commissioner. To give clarity, the substitute is to clean up a few errors and to make it a little clearer what we're doing. So under the recommended award section, the Russell Group is actually receiving Group 1, 3, and 5. The original actually had it as 1, 3, and 4 for the categories. And then we also were making it clear about the growth period. In the purpose section, it was specifically listing a year, but the growth period runs April through November. So we just wanted to make it clear of the growth period in general. And they do have existing services to take care of the current growth period we're in right now.
Perfect. Thank you.
Just one comment.
Commissioner Terry, did you have a question?
Yes, just one comment. Could we, because I don't think we've added any locations. This is sort of just the same locations as the last year, I believe, Zach. I think all the locations listed on the contract, I think they haven't changed since last year.
No,
Okay.
the same ones.
So, Mr. Chair, if it's possible, could we advance this and then just check with all the commission districts to make sure there's not, because sometimes, we get additional requests of, can you mow here and this, and just make sure we're not missing any locations.
To your point, I guess one of the questions I had put to Mr. Marcus Allen was if it was possible to get a GIS map that shows the areas that are being covered, and it just makes it a little bit visually easier for commissioners to be able to look at that at a glance and confirm.
And we can get that. We're working on that as we speak.
Okay. You can get that to us for, I guess, in time for Tuesday?
For Tuesday, sure.
For Tuesday, okay.
Friday.
Monday's a holiday.
Yep.
Stacy won't mind.
Thank you, Zach. Stacy's a good guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so is Araya.
So can we approve this conditionally, just with any additional, because there might be, I feel like might be a couple roads I need to add to this.
I agree, and it would be nice to, again, to have that visual. So if we can get that. Commissioner Johnson, any questions for you? If not, I'll open the floor for a motion.
All right, I'll move to approve the substitute for 0477 pending the final review of the locations by the commission districts.
Yes.
Second.
With a GIS map.
With the GIS map.
Okay.
Second stance.
All right. Got a proper motion, proper second on the sub with conditions. All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
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 All right. Director, we got another one here for you. Agenda item 2026-0655. This is for all commission districts. Renewal contract numbers 1381670 and 1381672. Litter removal services. Second renewal of 2 options to renew for use by the Department of Public Works, Sanitation, and Beautification to obtain year-round litter removal services on various roadways, exit ramps, and medians, exercising second renewal option through June 30, 2027, and adding Department of Watershed Management to the contract, awarded to American Eagle LLC and Russell Landscape. Total amount not to exceed $1,435,487.32. Director?
Yes, sir. Again, this is a continuation of an existing contract with this company. From what I'm understanding, that there was some watershed opportunities that was taken care of in this. So that's why that language was put in there. Mm-hmm. But again, it's something existing, and we just exercising the second option.
Okay. I think I had also asked for a map on this one as well.
Absolutely.
Is Zach able to, you guys are, okay, as long as you guys can get that for us.
Yes.
Commissioner Terry?
Yes, can we treat this the same way? Just make sure there's not a road missing. I was looking for East Ponce in North Decatur. We have a lot of folks who are panhandling there, and they just sort of leave their trash on the side of the road. But we could just get that GIS map and then ask the commissioners to just double check there's not any roads missing. Is that okay?
That's fine.
That's fine, okay. Commissioner Johnson, any questions?
No, sir.
No, okay. Commissioner Terry, if you can make the motion with that condition similar to the previous one?
Motion to approve item 0655 conditionally with the GIS map of the locations in the contract and pending review by the commission districts.
Second.
All right. We got a proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right. Director, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Next, we have Public Works, Roads, and Drainage. This is agenda item 2026-0587. This is the proposed stormwater utility fee increase.
Yes.
Director Allen, good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Of course, this was heard at the last PWI committee, and we presented yesterday to the full council. So we're back.
Anything new to add?
Nothing new to add.
Okay. Commissioner Terry?
Could we get from the law department just the actual ordinance language? Because I think that's what's missing from the agenda is the actual, like, I don't know if it's a resolution or how we term it. Because I'd love just to make sure we're continuing the green infrastructure, allocation. But just to have that language, I think would just.
Right. So we would be continuing the green infrastructure and ensuring that it allows for not just the schools, but
yeah, just update it for green infrastructure in general, if you don't mind. But other than that, I'm good to go with what's been proposed.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Terry. Commissioner Johnson?
So I'm just trying to make sure I understand Commissioner Terry. So it references the stormwater master plan, but you want something more specific just on the green infrastructure?
Yes, and Zach, do y'all have the last rate increase document? Because we included a provision that just set aside $350,000 each year for green infrastructure.
Oh, okay.
And so that was just a line in the rate ordinance.
Oh, okay. If you could send that, because I definitely was not here the last time.
Any other questions, Commissioner Johnson?
No, I'm good with it.
So before we get into a motion, I think there was a desire expressed last time to have a town hall to sort of, in the evening, flesh this out or present this to the residents at a special standalone meeting. Are we still there as a committee?
Can you remind me, Zach, of the timing for, because what was if May 30th was that going to be the town hall date?
I don't know that we set a date for the town hall meeting, but that's something that we need to do.
Right.
Because I think we would be
30th would be
talking about
Saturday.
that and sanitation.
And sanitation. And
whatever was the date to.
If there was a way, I guess my preference would be stormwater, sanitation, and then if CEO is proposing some changes in the upcoming budget.
Right, so the millage
Probably
rate
be
is
good
what
to-
was approved in the budget.
Right.
Yeah, so yes, we are continuing with that proposal.
And it would be ideal, I guess, if it's possible to have all three conversations at one time.
Can we add it to the public hearings for the millage rate?
Add which thing, I'm sorry?
The discussion, a more public discussion on the stormwater fee and the proposed sanitation fee that's coming, if we don't have a separate town hall.
That was ultimately the question I was asking is we had expressed interest in a town hall to begin with. Are we still wanting to do a town hall? And if so, then let's have that conversation about these two different rate increases standalone, and if we can get the other rate increase that's being considered, throw that in there as well. But do y'all want to still do a town hall is really the question?
Yeah, I would say just for our purposes, stormwater and sanitation, if we could do that before we give our final approval, I think that would be ideal. But it seems like we have time because you need this by mid-June.
I believe so.
And that was my next question is when do you need
Right, so we're probably
something
going to
from
need,
us?
just thinking this, as I stand here, that town hall meeting, not next week, but the following week.
First week in June.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
Marcus, if you can coordinate with the COO's office, let's get a town hall. I'm assuming the preference would be something in the evenings, perhaps 7:30, 6:30 in the evenings.
So is there a night?
There's night cow on that Tuesday, June 2nd.
Okay, so maybe we would do 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
This is just as I stand here, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Marcus, if you can get us a date that works for
Maybe the 3rd or
commissioners and the COO's office, I think that would be ideal.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, so we do have a PWI on June 2nd, but I know we'll have the nighttime cow, so I don't know if that'll be a shorter meeting, but we could do a special call PWI on like June 8th, if June 9th would be the next BOC, if that was the timing.
Let's get our man to get us confirmed on that one, but I like where you're going with that one. I think that's the idea, is something in the evening where we can present this to the residents.
That would allow for a vote from the board June 9th, is that what you're saying? Mr. Terry?
Yeah, that would be kind of the flow, I think, because that would give us one more committee meeting.
I think that gets us there.
That gets us there, okay, all right.
I just want to ask a quick question for clarification, if I may. You're Commissioner Terry, you're asking for the previous legislation that was used the last time these fees were changed. Okay, just making sure I understood you.
Yep.
And back on the town hall, my preference would be the 3rd or the 4th. And I think if we have it on the 8th, knowing we're probably going to go vote on it within a few hours, I don't know how the public will receive that. But if we can't get it, I think the 8th would be,
So you're saying I see what you're saying.
yeah.
I'll say I will be available.
Yep. Yeah, 3rd or 4th looks good for me.
Me as well. Okay.
Okay. So,
All right, so it's motion to hold this in committee?
okay.
Second.
Proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, commissioners. Let me make a note right here. All right, moving on. Commissioner Terry, would you mind if we hopped over your items and moved into the new agenda items and then circled back? Is that all right?
Yes, and those 2 items are really related to the 0930.
Yep.
So whatever, I can talk about them in context of that if you want.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. So that being said, we're going to skip down to new agenda items under Chief Executive Office. We have at the bottom of page 3, agenda item 2026-0474. This is for all commission districts. Approval of amendment number 1 to contract number 2000186, operational and performance assessment services, purchasing policy exemption, awarded to Malden Jenkins LLC, amount not to exceed $116,530. Zach, what do you have to tell us about this?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What this item is, it's essentially an approval of a purchasing exemption item, which was the operational assessment of the Department of Watershed Management, which was requested by the board as part of the adoption of the 10 by 10 rate adjustment for water and sewer. So, at that time, we simply, the board requested and we executed. We used Malden and Jenkins, quite frankly, because they had been conducting, they conducted on 18 other departments and business units. They were here. They do our annual comprehensive plan, our comprehensive financial report. So they were a logical group. They're well on their way, and I anticipate this work being wrapped up by the end of June.
So end of, I guess, August, September timeframe, you guys will be coming back to us with an update on that report?
We'll schedule something with you, Mr. Chair, at your convenience.
Okay.
After the, anytime after probably July 1st or mid-July.
Yep. As I recall, we are sort of taking a break in the middle of July, so.
So first part of August, we'll be ready.
That would be ideal. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay. Commissioners, any questions for COO?
Nope.
If not, to open the floor for a motion.
Move to approve item ending in 0474.
Second.
Proper motion, proper second. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Top of page 4, under Public Works, we have agenda item 2026-0930. This is for all commission districts, sanitation department increase in commercial and residential service fees, landfill and transfer station tipping fees.
Yes.
Zach.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Mr. Rael will come up along with Director McKinney and kind of talk through, but as you're well aware, I mean, it hasn't been any secret, or if so, it's the worst kept secret. Over the last number of years, our sanitation department has had, just like, quite frankly, any other business, increased costs without increased revenues. Whether we talk about the the great work that the governing authority has done with increasing, employee wages, whether it's buying new equipment such as new trucks, dumpsters, roll carts, all of that stuff. But the fact is, in order to sustain, in order to address the ongoing liabilities, it's time for another rate increase. And so what Robert will kind of walk through is how we got to where we are, describe exactly where we are and what the future looks like with and without a rate increase. And then I would anticipate that this conversation, much like the one on stormwater, would be embedded into a town hall meeting on June 2nd,
4th,
3rd, whenever,
something like that.
somewhere in that time frame. So, Mr. Ryle, if you can kind of walk the committee through what we have found, the work that you guys have done, we'd appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely.
And Mr. Ryle, just before you begin, I will say back in 2021 when Commissioner Terry and I started, I don't know if you heard this, but there was reports of at least one transmission from a sanitation truck falling out in front of someone's driveway, and the resident was blocked in there. And then we had the labor shortages that were associated with yard clippings collections, particularly in the north side of the north side of the county. The perception is still, though, that DeKalb sanitation is a champ.
Sure.
A fantastic service. But as we had to acknowledge just a few years ago that there was a need for a rate increase, I should also add that I guess in 21 we made a loan from the general fund to the enterprise fund for sanitation, and I'm sure your point is going to cover this.
Sure.
But when you have an enterprise fund, the expectation is that it is self-sustaining.
Absolutely.
It can carry its own finances, and if it needs to make a loan, it can do that. Or if emergencies pop up, transmissions fall in someone's yard.
Sure.
There's money to take care of that issue. So
Absolutely.
with that as a background, please go ahead.
It's a great background and exactly some of the things that I'm going to speak to as part of my findings, having reviewed the sanitation fund. Just for the record, my name is Robert Ryle. I'm with Arcadis. It's probably been a year or so since I've presented, but it's good to see all of you again. As COO Williams mentioned, we've completed what I call a revenue sufficiency study of the sanitation fund, essentially looking at, are the revenues sufficient to cover the obligations of sanitation? The answer is they're not, and we'll cover that. But then further looking at how do those revenues need to change, i.e., how do the fees need to change? How do they need to increase in order for sanitation to be able to meet all of its obligations, to be able to build a reserve, to your point, so that there is money, when emergencies happen, right? They're going to occur. So that was really the purpose of our study. And I want to start with some background. I think the background will be helpful as we approach these decisions. But the purpose of an enterprise fund, right, as you mentioned, an enterprise fund is established to be a self-supporting governmental fund that operates like a business, right? It's providing goods and services, and the public pays a fee. And that fee is generally in proportion to what you're using. Watershed, it's how much water you use. Sanitation, it's how many carts you have. However, the general fund has had to support the sanitation fund. The sanitation fees, they do not generate sufficient revenue to support sanitation's operating and capital needs. And over the long term, this just isn't practical, and it's not sustainable. What I'm showing in this figure, beginning on the left, is some historic information, and I call this out in the lower left-hand quadrant of this slide, but it's the fund balance for sanitation. And we can see that for the past 5 years, sanitation has operated at a deficit, and the general fund has had to support sanitation. And some years, that deficit was significant, over $20 million in 2022. On the right-hand side of this figure is our forecast, that if the revenues don't change, if there's no fee increase, what will the sanitation operating fund look like? And as you see, right, it gets worse, right? The problem is getting worse and worse. So in my view, this is really challenge number one, is that sanitation is operating at a deficit. The current revenue stream, the current fees, they don't generate sufficient revenue to cover sanitation's obligations. I think part of the challenge of how we got here, as again COO Williams mentioned, is the historic fees of sanitation. And what we're showing here in green is DeKalb County sanitation fees historically, starting in 2019, compared with the City of Atlanta's fees, which in some years were double what DeKalb County was charging. And I think that this has led to, largely to the deficit that sanitation is operating at today. This is issue number two, which has to do with the landfill. What I'm showing in this figure are the capital needs of the sanitation fund. It's vehicle replacement. And at the top of each one of these bars, the light green area, which begins in 2027, is the need for landfill expansion. And I'm not a landfill expert, but I've had a lot of conversations with sanitation, so I'll present this in the layman's terms that I understand it. But the current landfill has about 3 or 4 years of capacity left. And then it can't take any more waste unless there's a expansion, a cell expansion. And that cell expansion, those costs are what I'm presenting in this figure, right? The light green, the top of these bars. And that cell expansion takes about 3 or 4 years to complete. So we're really at a very unique point in time here where those expansion efforts need to begin. They currently are not funded, right, without some type of a revenue adjustment. And just giving the timing of completing that expansion, it really aligns with the amount of capacity that's remaining right now.
Just to interrupt and for clarity, I thought we had capacity through 2050, something like that. So several years. Are you talking about the current cell?
I'm talking about the current cell.
Understood.
So the landfill itself, right, does have a long-term capacity, but that has to be periodically expanded. You have to add a cell.
Right.
So I'm talking about the cell. So the current cell, 3 or 4 years. Adding a new cell is going to take 3 or 4 years, and the funding is not in place to do that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So what are the proposed fee increases? I'll present residential first. So currently, your residential customers, majority of them have a single cart, and they're paying $315 a year for that service. Our analysis shows that there's a need for about a 25% increase, which would be an increase annually of $78, which is $6.50 per month for a residential customer. And then we followed this with future rate increases of 10%, and we're able to reduce that in 2030. But the 10% come from essentially just what we're seeing other enterprise funds doing. Watershed had a 10 by 10 plan, sanitation has a 10 plan. So we're trying to be consistent with what other enterprise funds are doing. Mm-hmm. We did look at 10% increases in every year, including 2026, which is currently at 25%, but those numbers just didn't work, right? Just in order of magnitude, just to fix the operating deficit, we're not talking about expanding the landfill cell, but just to fix the deficit would be about an 18% increase in 2026. Right? We're proposing 25% because that allows for the landfill cell expansion, right? So essentially, we're just not able to do a 10% in 2026, but it is something that we explored. This is, again, a summary of the commercial fee increases, same magnitude in terms of percentage increases that are needed. And then we also have, just showing you the future obligations. You can see on the very left-hand side in 2025, again, what we're showing here are all of the obligations of sanitation, as well as the black line, which is the revenues that we're forecasting with these fee adjustments, the red line being revenues without the fee adjustments. And we can see 2025, right, the current deficit, right? Both of these lines are below the needs, the obligations of sanitation. But the fee increases, right, they essentially get us all of these things. You're able to fund your operations, you're able to fund vehicle replacement, you're able to contribute to a post-closure fund, you're able to fund your debt service, the capital, which would be that cell expansion, make a contribution and establish a fund balance, an emergency fund balance as part of the sanitation fund. Next, we have some fee comparisons. The first is residential. Again, on the left-hand side, currently, residential customers are charged $315 per year. The first increase that we're proposing would take that to $393, and it would be $594 in 2030 at the end of this 5-year plan. We're also showing other service providers in the metro area and what they currently charge for service, which is an average now of $417. So what we're proposing for this year would actually be less than the average of other communities. I'll also mention that City of Atlanta just initiated a sanitation rate study, right, which to me indicates that their sanitation fees will likely be going up. That's why you would do a rate study. But for just in terms of comparison, this is where the residential fees would land with these proposed adjustments. Similarly, again, applying increases to the landfill as well as the transfer stations, and you can see how these fees would be adjusted over the next 5 years, again, compared with other landfills and transfer stations at their current fees that they are charging. Commercial fee comparison. This is for a front-load dumpster, which is the most common commercial service that sanitation provides. Again, you can see our proposed fees, where they would go this year as well as over the course of the next 5 years, compared to other service providers and what they're currently charging. And then a commercial recycling fee, again, very similar, right? The 5-year increases compared, again, with other service providers as well as their average. So in conclusion, I think all things that I have mentioned, right? The sanitation fund has incurred a deficit each year over the past 5 years. Without increased revenue, those deficits are expected to increase in the future. The residential fee increase, right, to incorporate that into 2026, it would need to be adopted in advance of July 1 in order to be on the tax roll. The commercial landfill fee increases would be effective in July 1. And then, again, that landfill cell expansion and closure activities that I have mentioned, which need to be initiated in 2027, right, in order to align with the current cell remaining capacity. And with that, that concludes my presentation. I believe Director McKinney may have some final thoughts as well. Yeah.
I guess a quick thought that comes to mind. I know City of Chamblee also sets their millage, I think, with their sanitation rate. So has there been a conversation with Chamblee sort of giving them a heads up that this may be coming down? I know last time we had this conversation, there was a disconnected conversation that was problematic.
I think at this point we can certainly reach out to the cities. I don't think we've had any formal conversation, in that this is actually our first introduction of this, you know. But I think, you know, after today's discussion, it's now public, so we can definitely reach out.
Okay.
Need to include City of Stone Mountain as well.
Okay. Commissioners, I'll let you go first, and then I got some questions myself.
Director McKinney.
Or Director.
I want to kind of add some icing on the cake, right? If we want to call it that. You know, so I've worked with several municipalities, large and small, that were structured as full-on services, sole provider. The way the fees and the rates were structured was, you know, to take care of the residential part, take care of commercial, but future growth of landfills are so important because not only are we state regulated, we're federal regulated as well. So to kind of keep those things in compliance, rates are structured in such a way. So the things that we're doing now is for us to continue to service where it's been at a quality level and not have any gaps in service, as well as being, most important, being regulatory compliant.
Okay. Commissioner Terry, any questions?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I did reach out to Decatur, Avondale Estates, and Chamblee. All three of those cities do send their private, you know, their own contractors for yard waste and landfill to either the central, North Central, or Seminole Road. And we did request from sanitation, thank you, sort of their tonnage and sort of what they're paying right now. The city of Decatur has not planned for a rate increase this year in their budget, and I don't think Chamblee or Avondale Estates have either. So I would like to open up the conversation with them related back to the composting idea. And I do have if there is some time today, Mr. Chair, I do have like a couple proposed amendments to this agenda item that I think would address some equity issues as well as achieve some of our other revenue goals that we've outlined, and maybe even lower some of the capacity needs that Mr. Rouse presented on. But I'll just quickly lay them out here, and I can, if we have time, I got a PowerPoint, but if not, I can share you the slides. So a couple of things that I'll note that I don't think was in the presentation was the tire fees. What is the proposed fee per tire in this rate structure? I think it was raised to $13 in the last. But I figure if you're doing the across the board 15%, then you're just going to include that as well.
I don't know that we've actually looked at that specifically with the tires, but it's kind of a small dollar amount. But if so, since we're raising all the fees by certain percentages, we could do the same there. But
well, in support of what Commissioner Patrick's been working on in the ERPS committee on reducing tire dumping, I believe that there is a kind of a Metro Atlanta best standard or best practice, I guess, for setting the tire fee across all the jurisdictions. And I think that we should consider adopting that rate so everyone that is disposing of tires either doesn't shop landfills to see what's the cheapest, or the research I've done is when we increased the tire fee, we saw a reduction in tires coming to the landfill, and we saw a 359% increase in the Keep DeKalb Beautiful tire cleanup drop-off. So what the numbers are suggesting that when the tire fee went up, people dumped them somewhere, and then we ended up picking it up, and then we probably spent more money picking them up. And so I believe the standard now is like $3.50 a tire, around that. So that would be one request, is to amend whatever here is actually to lower the per tire fee to the sort of the Metro standard. I think that would help us address some of the tire, not all of it, but it could maybe re-incentivize folks to say, hey, just don't dump it, bring it to the landfill so we don't have to end up spending millions of dollars cleaning it up. The second thing I'd like us to consider is related to the folks who live near the landfill. That's the other resolution, Mr. Chair. In essence, a rebate for those who live within a half mile, a mile, or 2 miles of the landfill. I guarantee you, my constituents that live near the landfill, when they hear landfill expansion, because in their mind, and this is going back years, and I wasn't here, and none of us were here, they thought the landfill would only be there for 20 years. And so there is the notion in the community that the landfill was going to be a park one day, and that, don't worry about it. But landfill expansion, really, I think, sets off a lot of people who live directly around it. So a small discount rebate on their residential fees to sort of lessen that hit as the fees increase, I think would be an equitable approach to just respecting their situation. We did run the numbers, and based on those calculations, we estimate it costs about $2 million if every single person eligible sought the rebate. So if it's possible, we could share that with Mr. Riles, and he can maybe just kind of run those numbers to see how it fits into that. I think I read it right, $500 million deficit if we don't do anything. So hopefully some of those things aren't like breaking the bank. They're just sort of recognizing, on the ground situations. The last time we increased the rates, we did approve in the resolution a commitment to open up a compost facility. And the main reason there is twofold. The EPA says that if you can divert food waste from landfills, it reduces the odors. Simple as that. That's the biggest complaint we get from residents who live nearby. But then back to what I was saying earlier about Pole Bridge is there is a revenue generating opportunity with compost, and certainly the free compost that we provide to residents for any county resident is wood mulch compost. But if we do a food waste, yard waste together, then the value of that free compost is even greater. And the farmers, the gardeners, constituents, I think would really benefit from what would be an enhanced compost amendment. Arguably, if they can get free compost from DeKalb and not spend $40 for Miracle-Gro at Pikes, that kind of actually becomes a cost, almost a cost savings for residents who are like big farmers and gardeners. And then the only other thing I might ask for us just to run the numbers on is looking at, and maybe the tax commissioner can help us with this, is looking at the senior homestead exemption qualified properties. We have a provision in our tax code that provides some discounts on property tax assessments for seniors that are low to moderate income. I think they raised it to $29,000 in the legislature 2 years ago, and I believe we know all of the seniors that have applied and take advantage of that exemption because this is on the property tax bill. Knowing that some seniors are, especially if you're low to moderate income, fixed income, might be having trouble paying for gas, groceries, for all the things that we're aware of. If we could lessen the increase for them simply because we know they're already qualified based on their income. And, and I don't know exactly what that discount might be and how it would be applied, but I believe there's maybe 10,000 or so that might qualify. And if we could look at either a rebate or a different rate structure for them for this first increase, and then moving forward, some other calculation I think would be important for us to understand how it fits into your calculations, because I do support the enterprise fund having the funds to do the operations. I mean, everything you laid out is exactly what we have to do to make sure that the services are superb and efficient. But just recognizing that some folks are struggling right now, and if we can, lessen that hit, I think that would be important.
Yeah, so we would be happy to run the numbers and provide them to you. I mean, we were not in a position to, take a position. What we presented is what we have kind of run the math. But we definitely, can work with, whomever to run these numbers on the things you listed. Of those items that you just listed, though, the tire, that's wholly consistent, I think, with where we are moving. We're working on a pretty robust strategy that would likely include trying to send tires elsewhere. But we're still working on a number of those details. But each of the other things, we just have to look at the economic impact and would provide that to you. And then we would ultimately come to our determination whether that's something that we would agree with or not agree with. And then ultimately the board makes a decision. Okay.
Commissioner Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question on once, the plan for these proposed rates is pretty much for a 5-year plan. Should we be building in escalation beyond that so that in 5 years we're not coming back with, we're stagnant again and then we'll have
to. So quite frankly, with everything we have presented or that we will present, it would behoove us, just like any other public organization, to budget as far out as possible. In year 6, things aren't going to be less expensive than they were in year 5.
Not at all.
In year 9, they won't be less expensive, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I say that to say if we were presenting, much like, remember, we came to the board with a 3-year proposal for water. The board came back with a 10-year, and it makes sense. So,
and I guess that's kind of the point is if we are being more proactive on these increases, then we can do them more incrementally, and it's not a strong 25% in the first year. Yeah. If we're doing it smaller but consistently increasing to match the increased demands, then it's easier for us as commissioners to digest with the public. So I just want to bring that in. And then offline, I'm curious what happened in 2022.
I'm sorry?
What happened in 2022, because that deficit dropped drastically to the 22 million it was a huge deficit. So offline, I just kind of like to get some historical
And we'll take a look at. And one of the things that was mentioned was the payment or the loan from the general fund to sanitation. We also did a $10 million infusion from ARP funds into sanitation.
That's right.
We also took a hiatus on fleet, the vehicle replacement. So everything that we can think of over the last 5 years, we've done. And actually, quite frankly, it goes back 12 years or so when we first introduced rolling forward to one and under Lee May's administration. And that was an attempt because we went from 2 days a week to 1 day a week. So sanitation. 4 days a week to 1 day. Right, because we ran multiple routes. All those things have been done to be as efficient as possible. And so we've literally wrung out, all the strategies we could think of before we got here today.
And then to continue the conversation about the cities, I believe the city of Stone Mountain has a contract with the county to provide these services. We just want to make sure.
We'll check. But I do remember talking with Chamblee, Avondale Estates, and Decatur the last time we raised a rate, and we didn't raise rates on them at that time because of their sequence or something. So yes, for the past 4 years or so, they've had the benefit of not experiencing a rate increase, where the other commercial commercial partners did receive a rate increase.
Understood. Thank you. I yield.
Okay. Could you go back to the slide with the graph that shows the proposed rate increase schedule that you've laid out? Go forward one, I think. One more. Okay, so I do think a 25% rate increase is a big bite right out the door. Sure. The residents have been generally through the water and sewer have been more comfortable with the 10 by 10. But I also acknowledge that you're saying the math is what it is. I don't know. If you could maybe run a couple other scenarios, I don't know, maybe 2 15s and then 10s for the rest of the 10-year period, just to see what that looks like, because that is a very large hit. And at the end of the day, we're still going to be responsible for explaining why, in the midst of $5 gas, we're coming back to the residents and asking for more money. And as I've said before, I've never had someone yell at me because the services are delivered on time and perfectly.
Right.
But this is a big number, and I don't think any of us have been in an environment where we've had $5 gas or perhaps more coming up.
Right. No, and we will revisit the numbers, but
okay.
Your point is absolutely well taken, because we too, the business of providing sanitation, experiences the increase in gas.
Absolutely.
The increase in employee costs, increase in healthcare.
Yep.
So running that business, we experience everything that everyone else experiences.
Yep.
And the only way to offset it is like businesses do, they have to pass on some of that to consumers.
Understood. And then to follow Commissioner Johnson's point, again, I appreciate you guys doing the 5-year, but I think we should probably look more towards the 10-year horizon, just so that.
So I assume you're also not to go back to the other. You're thinking that same thing with stormwater.
Yeah, we had talked about the 10 by 10 with the stormwater as well.
Just making sure we're all on track.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have one other question.
Yeah. Commissioner Terry, please.
Just on that point about the just sort of different scenarios, are we considering in this time period the revenue from the methane collection contract? Because I know that still hasn't happened, and it was supposed to be like a $26 million revenue share. So
over 5 years,
yeah, over
something
5,
like
yeah.
that.
Yeah. I know. I mean,
Let's see. I don't know that we factor that in. We actually had a very productive conversation with those, with Conyers in the last couple of days. But
okay, all right, because
but I would not necessarily recommend that we factor that in.
Okay, well, we should factor it in because at some point, because we're just flaring,
Right.
we're flaring it, or we're, in essence, we're just burning it. And, 26 million over 5 years on this chart is a piece of it, but it is
Right.
It is
And so
millions
we will
of dollars.
definitely go back and we will ensure that we have evaluated and captured what is appropriate. But, there were a lot of numbers quoted 4 or 5 years ago based on a variety of factors that may or may not currently exist. And so for that reason, whatever numbers we would factor in would be based on where we are today and what we see going forward. Yeah.
Well, I totally would understand if you were more conservative on the revenue projections, but in the past, we've collected revenue from before it sort of, the last contract ended. And I do think that I do support the 10-year horizon. I think that would just really give us a better horizon of what we're trying to accomplish. But I think the methane collection and selling it to the market is a crucial component of this projection.
So we can certainly ensure that we factor in based on our existing contract, the time by contract, they're supposed to start producing. And there's other issues if they don't, that we have contractual rights to.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Well, my question was about expansion, so if you wanted to continue on that, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was going to ask about other revenue sources, and that's where the Pole Bridge location comes in. Would other revenue sources somehow be a benefit to this, different funds altogether?
Right.
Never mind, forget that. Commissioner Johnson, please go ahead.
So briefly touch on needing to expand, like the existing cell, has a couple years left and we'll need to do expansion. I think it was mentioned that we'll need to start that.
Right, adding a new cell, begin construction in 2027.
Okay, that's my question. So when will we start getting, or have we already started to get the contract RFPs so that we can start construction next year?
Have we started, Sharon? Well, yeah, I'm not sure if we've started the RFP, but.
Because if we're in the middle of 2026,
Right.
so.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
We have not started the process, but the way we have distributed the revenue, that the smaller share will be used next year, 2027, then the major share will be used 2028 and 2029. That's how we distributed the revenue or the capital that needs.
Okay.
But the start of the construction or the process will be next year.
Okay. Got it. Start of the whole RFP
The
process.
onboarding the firm, I guess.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you. I yield.
Commissioner
Just
Terry.
one more thing to note. It is really the Pole Bridge, actually, because the watershed department is paying the tip fees for the biosolids to be dumped at the landfill. So if there was any diversion from the landfill, then the revenues would be lower because watershed wouldn't be paying those tip fees. So it might only be like 600,000 if you diverted up 50%, but I think that's one little piece of all the little pieces in terms of what we're trying to project with this.
Right.
And
That would save, so yeah, sanitation would lose money.
yes, right, and watershed would save money. But they're all, enterprise funds, and, so just in this chart, if we can splice out the lines a little more, I think that would help us have a fuller picture.
And commissioners, I don't know how you feel about 15% in the first year, 15% in the second year, and then 10s for the remaining, but it would be a way to sort of ease out that bump, which I think people are going to pay attention to.
If maybe the request would be, us come back with some smoothing to the best of our ability.
Please, yes.
As opposed to picking a number without us.
That works.
Yes, please.
Running
That works.
the number.
That works. Okay. I guess as far as scheduling, I thought it was productive at the COW to have the presentation given at the COW again, so the other commissioners that are not present are knowledgeable. We've got time, I believe, to
Let's
work
check-
something like
yeah,
that.
because if we're going to, I think the next cow is the night cow.
Yeah, so we wouldn't have time at the night cow if we're
And
doing
then we have the town hall the next day.
So maybe we do just a town hall, we do it in the town hall?
Might just have to be at the town hall.
Yeah, the town hall, I think, is stormwater and sanitation.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing.
If you could come back to us with some way to ease
Smooth
that
it
edge, because
to the extent
that's a
possible.
big hit right there that I'm concerned about myself. So, okay. All right. Well, commissioners, I think the notion is we'll hold this here for now, and then we will plan to have a town hall. Mr. Allen, if you can make sure you're working with Zach's team to get that town hall set up, and I'm guessing it's for the Thursday, the 4th, if that works for everybody.
Yeah, that works.
That works.
And we will Thursday evening. Yep. And I guess here at Maloof, here at Sam Street, if it's possible. Okay. All right.
Motion to hold item 0930 in committee.
Second.
All right, commissioners, we have about 16 more items, and I know we have people that have other commitments throughout the day. So,
You leaving now, or can you? I was going to try and go to 12:30. You got to go now.
I think now is probably a good.
Prioritized item.
If we can appreciate that, I think we're just going to hold on these, and then Marcus, if you can get us a special called so that we can get these items taken care of quickly. That
So
would be
are
ideal.
there any times? Because I can stay to 12:30 if you need to go. If we need to get through a couple.
Well, we've already done page 2, 3, and 4. All right. I'll tell you what, Commissioner Terry, are you leaving?
But I can stay if we
If
need
you
to
can
get a
give me
couple.
2 minutes.
Oh, I'm chair right now? Okay, thank you. We did that one, page 3, page 4. So on page 4, I'm going to go to Public Works Fleet Management, item 2026-0792, all commission districts statewide contract for truck chassis and truck bodies for use by Public Works Fleet Management to be used by the Department of Watershed Management to attain 2 2027 international trucks with Warner Service bodies awarded to Rush Truck Centers of Georgia, Inc., doing business as Rush Truck Center, Atlanta, amount not to exceed $249,862. Good morning, Mr. Gordon. Or afternoon.
These are
Oh, mic's on.
these are just replacement trucks for service trucks to go out and do water repairs for watershed, just normal replacement.
Any questions, Commissioner Terry?
No questions.
Can I have a motion?
Was it 0792?
0792.
Motion to approve item 0792.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to 2026-0679, also on page 4, statewide contract, truck chassis and truck bodies for use by Public Works Fleet Management to be used by the Stormwater Department and the Department of Recreation, Parks, and Cultural Affairs to obtain 20 new 2027 international dump trucks awarded to Rush Truck Centers of Georgia, Inc., doing business as Rush Truck Center, Atlanta, amount not to exceed $3,328,370.
Yes, ma'am. These are replacement trucks as well. There'll be 10 of them that are 6-yard trucks going to stormwater, 6 12-yard trucks to stormwater, 3 12 yards to watershed management, and then 1 to park and recs. They're all replacements.
And
Normal replacement cycle.
was this sent to audit?
It was sent to audit. I believe it's still pending.
Pending an audit. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen them make money.
Approve pending audit?
That's fine.
Okay, motion to approve 0679 pending audit.
Second.
Thank you very much.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that is unanimous. And then there was one more on the critical list. Let me find it. On page 6, item 2026-0762, all commission districts cooperative agreement for full service maintenance, electrical, mechanical, and electronic equipment repairs, Cobb County contract number 24-6802, for use by the Department of Watershed Management to obtain services to inspect, services, repair, rebuild, and maintain electrical, mechanical, and electronic equipment awarded to Cole Technology, Inc. and Tech Well Services, LLC. Total amount not to exceed $1,500,000.
Yes, it's
Mr. Wells.
Thank you. It's a very important item to us. As you guys know, we got a number of facilities that operate 24/7, and we at all times need the ability to be able to maintain electrical and mechanical components, and this is a vehicle to do so.
Page 6.
The benefit of actually doing a co-op, you already have the pricing known. You know how competitive it is relative to what you've already been paying. It's executed, it's been bidded publicly, and it's just a benefit to get it done expeditiously. Thank you.
I will hand back to the chair.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
I do not have any questions.
Okay.
Ready?
I'm ready for a motion.
Motion to approve item ending in 0762.
I'll second that. All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
All right. So we went ahead and you guys took care of the two from page 4?
Yes.
And then this other one?
Yes.
Zach, are we good with this list right here?
Well, I think there may be a few more, but if we have gone through all of
We've
them.
gone through
that
these
list.
right here.
Which page?
0423. Yeah,
This one is 0423,
Top of page 7.
all right.
LME 2024.
Yep, let me read this one out. 2026-0423, this is all commission districts, renewal of contract number 20000219 and 20000220, engine and generator maintenance and repair services.
Is that not the right one?
No, I'm sorry, sir.
Which one did you have?
0423. LME.
0423?
Yeah, 0423 is the one I was just reading out.
0434.
34.
And what page is that one?
Sorry.
Top of page 5.
Top of page 5.
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
Wrong number down there. Sorry.
no worries.
Yes.
Don't leave, Chris. 2026-0434, this is for all commission districts. Change order number 2 to contract number 2000114 for ITB number 24-101659. LMIG road resurfacing projects for use by Public Works Roads and Drainage to obtain maintenance services for resurfacing DeKalb County roads, seeking increase in contract term through December 31st, 2026, awarded to E.R. Snell Contractor Incorporated, contract term increase only.
Yes, but Commissioner, we just need a little more time to complete the contract.
Okay.
We have some pending invoices and work punch list items.
Okay.
About 90%.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, any questions?
No questions.
No, okay. I got to ask. I know this is for.
Yes.
Yeah, good. So the question and concern is this. I get that the way the contracts tend to be let, there's flexibility for the vendor to be able to get to these items, prioritize them as they choose. I have residents yelling at me to get stuff done. And so is there a way moving forward with our contracts that we can, y'all are free, but maybe you're not absolutely free-range chickens running around picking what you want? Like, we have some ability to say, you're going to get this section done in this
We
section.
could try. We've talked with Peggy. Some of our other county contracts we do by districts or phases. We have to give them the flexibility because there are lots of little roads, and it's the weather and coordination with utilities. But we can look at that the next series of contracts to try to maybe get us a little more quarterly updates as opposed to.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the fact that we are trying to get the most out of the dollars, but the residents at Rose Arbor in particular are just frustrated and do want to see
Understand.
roads paved and.
But this contract, when it's closed out, we'll take care of Rose Arbor.
Before then, please. Please, I beg. Okay. Commissioner Johnson, if you have no other questions or comments, open the floor.
Motion to approve 0434.
I'll go ahead and second. All those in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks.
All right, is there another hot one we got to get taken care of?
Just a hot one. 026 0875. 0875.
What page is that one?
That would be on page 4, up towards the top. 0875.
Oh, no. I was told
public
we
hearing.
skipped that one. Were you just going to give us some information on this?
We're good.
It's just public hearing.
It's just that's just a public hearing. So it just can't be held in committee.
Right.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other hot potatoes since I've got about 5 or 10 minutes with the commissioner? Otherwise, if not, we'll, no, okay. Mr. Allen, if you will, get us another special call date that's convenient for the three of us.
Yes, sir. We'll coordinate.
Preferably not next week, though. That's all right.
10-4.
But otherwise, yeah. Commissioner, it's been fun.
It has been fun. It's always the greatest show on earth.
It is the greatest show on earth. No one appreciates us.
They don't.
And the humor's free. You get what you pay for. Anyway.
A move we adjourn.
Second. All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Enjoy the holiday, everyone. Once again, we all appreciate the service of our veterans for Memorial Day, and thank you very much for the sacrifices that were made for us to enjoy the liberties we have. Thank you.
Thank you.